Well, don't blame me for not loving you. I was doing my duty. Blame yourself if I don't love you, okay? When I'm in love with a woman, that's her fault. So what happens if I'm not in love with a woman? Is that just my fault? If I'm mad...
I'm not placing blame, but this was a fight conversation. I'll shut it down right now.
It's an accountability conversation.
I remember when Sonny and Cher got divorced when I was 6, and it rattled me.
Just when you think you can't possibly dislike someone more, he proved you wrong. It's amazing. I really do dislike him. And this season, he's angrier than ever, like he's got something to prove and no idea how to prove it. There he sits, with more hair on his upper lip than on his head, and an attitude even worse than his wife's awkward cry face, calling people unlovable. Ridiculous, right? How Robyn sticks around after hearing the things that come out of his mouth is a mystery to me. But then again, maybe it makes sense. They probably share that charming belief that men can't help themselves and women just have to be these perfect, godly wives to keep them in line. What a pair! We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X. Oh, that conversation between sister wives star Kody Brown and Meri Brown. A real masterpiece of emotional gymnastics. I'm really not trying to be harsh here, just stating the obvious, but it's clear Kody has been teetering on the edge of sanity for quite some time now. His latest chat with Meri was a prime example of just how unhinged he's become. I mean, seriously, he was all over the place. He starts off expressing regret about marrying Meri, but somehow doesn't want her to actually go through with the divorce. How does that even work? Then he has the audacity to claim she acted too quickly on the divorce. Newsflash, buddy, you've both been in a loveless marriage for over a decade. He once declared their relationship was at a standstill, but now he insists that he never meant to imply he wouldn't put in any effort. And just to top it all off, he invites her to Christmas, like everything is just peachy. It's genuinely baffling. Now, I do believe he's genuinely remorseful about the dumpster fire that is his split from Christine and Janelle. He clearly regrets how those relationships fell apart, but let's be real, if he was aiming to fix things with Meri during this conversation, he missed the mark by a mile. This little meetup seemed less about reconciliation and more about saving face. He just wanted Meri to concede that he didn't abandon her, that it was a two-way street. And then there's his habit of insisting he never loved his wives before Robyn. Honestly, he seems to think that helps his argument, when in reality, it's just cringeworthy. Moreover, Sister Wives star Kody Brown really outdid himself when he told Meri, his wife of 32 years, "You don't know me." I practically screamed when his ego burst forth like a jack-in-the-box. Seriously, how can he say that to the woman he's been married to for 3 decades and expect it to land well? It's clear that the longer Meri stays away from him, the stronger she becomes. Honestly, she handled herself pretty well in that ridiculous conversation. Kody was all over the map. One minute he acted like he was eager to make things work, and the next, he'd throw out some cruel remark when she didn't jump at the chance. He repeatedly claims he doesn't want her, yet somehow acts shocked when she decides to leave. After years of dangling false hope and weaving his web of lies, it's no wonder he's so manipulative. I can only imagine him pitting those wives against each other. He's the worst. Oh, and let's not forget that Meri knows Kody so well that she sought an official marriage release from the Mormon church. It took her a while, but she finally freed herself from his lying, gaslighting nonsense. And then, as if he hadn't already said enough ridiculous things, he had the audacity to tell her that he likes her now. I swear it took my eyes hours to recover from rolling them so hard. I found myself shouting at the TV, giving him a piece of my mind about just how ridiculous he is. Also, watching Sister Wives star Christine and David is just physically uncomfortable at this point. I mean, seriously, the whole baby this and kissy face that after just a month. Calling each other soulmates? I get that some people dive in headfirst, but come on. Christine threw caution to the wind and jumped in without a second thought for a guy she barely knows. It almost feels like David saw dollar signs the moment he realized she was on a TV show. In my opinion, this won't last. Not a chance. Christine comes off as a bit of a high schooler in her emotional responses, and while David seems okay, I really hope I'm wrong. It's just cringeworthy to watch them get all mushy when they don't know each other well at all. It's downright weird. Sure, given that they're both in their 50s and 60s, a long courtship might not make sense, since time really does feel different as you get older. I'm all for Christine making up for lost time and acting like a giddy teenager in love. Even if it doesn't pan out, at least she's experiencing those feelings. Honestly, I think they might have a shot. They both seem to have outgoing personalities, and even if the romance fizzles, I bet they'll make great friends and partners. And let's not forget, Christine made a marriage work with a man who claimed he never loved her and was not attracted to her for 26 long years. If this new guy genuinely loves her and finds her attractive, there's a good chance they'll stick together. Exactly. Not only did she endure Kody, but she also managed a life with 2 to 3 sister wives for over 2 decades. A monogamous relationship with someone who seems decent? It should be a walk in the park for her. Plus, I swear I remember David mentioning that his daughter had been telling him for years that Christine would be perfect for him. He definitely knew who she was before they even met. Plus, Sister Wives star Kody Brown was devastated when Sonny and Cher split up. What? I'm starting to think this guy is either on drugs or suffering from early onset dementia. Seriously grasping at the invisible straw of a 6-year-old Kody the clown, and claiming that the Sonny and Cher breakup was a pivotal moment in shaping his views on divorce? That has to be the most absurd piece of word vomit he's ever unleashed. I just finished watching the episode, and when he tossed out that Sonny and Cher comment, my first instinct was to rush to this subreddit and see if anyone else caught it. I'm constantly baffled by the nonsense that spills out of this guy's mouth. It's like he's just grasping at whatever thoughts tumble down from his ramen noodle hair, hoping something sticks. He spins these bizarre stories and weird anecdotes, completely convinced he's just dropped a nugget of wisdom or insight. It's absolutely bonkers. Additionally, the reality star Robyn Brown crying about her ruined, perfect Christmas was honestly more disturbing than usual. Am I the only one who thinks the other wives and children were just props in her polygamy fantasy? It's clear she didn't genuinely want to be a sister wife, share mothering duties, finances, or even her husband. She just wanted the appearance of it all. Now that she's lost her dolls, she can't pretend anymore. It's not the disarray of the family that has her upset. It's that her idealized Christmas has gone up in smoke. Her reactions reek of spite and envy. Looking back on earlier holiday celebrations, sure, they had less money, but there was so much warmth and joy. Robyn can't replicate that because her misery and laziness hold her back. She craves a ready-made experience without putting in the genuine love and time that make it possible. Her tantrum about how fancy foods don't matter and how it all felt cheap was absolutely fascinating. She thought she was casting moral shade on the other wives, but really, she just exposed her own shallow and empty experience. That Christmas in the McMansion looked downright pitiful. You have to wonder if Kody, on some level, is comparing it to those earlier years and missing the noise, fellowship, and fun that used to fill their celebrations. However, the most ridiculous part of Kody Brown's manipulation? Well, okay, maybe not the most ridiculous since the whole situation is a mess, but his attempt to flip the narrative and claim he never loved his first 3 wives just makes him look like an even bigger POS. So let me get this straight. You selflessly married 3 women you didn't love, which is actually selfish and deceptive. And now you're offended because these women left you since you never loved them. The relationships failed because you set them up for disaster, sir. It's all your fault. that excuse just makes you look worse. When he told Meri that he could have faked it if she really wanted to keep their relationship alive, it was just vile. And don't even get me started on his claim that he wanted to reconcile with Meri, but Christine blocked it. He can't keep his stories straight. Someone really needs to call him out on all these contradictions. What's even stranger is that in Kody's warped mind, lying about never loving Meri, Janelle, and Christine is somehow an attempt to make himself look better while making them look bad. It doesn't work. It only highlights how malicious and dishonest he truly is. I genuinely believe this lie is meant to protect his ego and make the wives seem inferior. It gets even weirder when, between his lies about never loving them, he actually admits that he did or still does love them. It's like watching a train wreck. You can't look away. Also, Sister Wives star Robyn Brown claiming to be shy. Does anyone actually buy that? She certainly didn't seem shy when she was kissing a married man in those early episodes, or when she constantly inserted herself into every couch interview, positioning herself as the family expert on polygamy. And let's not forget how she insisted on speaking for Kody and demanded to be included in counseling sessions with the original wives and mediating with the kids. But now she's suddenly shy. It makes you wonder if she's just realizing that she can't trust what comes out of her mouth and has decided to zip it for once. I've thought her claim of being shy was strange for a while now. Robyn is a walking contradiction. Her memory of events is shaky, and she throws out random polygamy facts in a desperate attempt to support her narrative. Being shy is just her latest tactic to assert some control. And let's be real, she openly allowed her stepdad to come in during her birth, along with cameras to capture the moment. The man stood at the end of the bed snapping pictures. That is not shy behavior. If she were truly shy, she wouldn't have dominated the talking heads early on, insisting she knows more about polygamy than women who had been living it for over 20 years. She wouldn't even be on TV in the first place. This whole shy act seems to be a cover now that people are starting to dislike her behavior. Plus, it's hard not to feel like Kody and Robyn's argument about him reaching out to the kids was completely staged, right? I mean, let's be real. Many people are convinced it was just for show. Words going around, though I can't confirm, that Kody and Robyn supposedly hired a PR consultant. And there's also talk that they were really upset about the public's opinion that Robyn was the one pulling the strings behind Kody's strict coronavirus rules, as well as being the wedge between him and the kids. First off, if Kody was actually the mastermind behind those coronavirus rules, wouldn't he have done something during that first family get-together when the younger kids were running around with Truly? Instead, it was Robyn who stepped in, trying to control the situation. It's pretty obvious she was the one behind it all, no matter how much Kody wants to play the martyr here. Second, if Robyn wasn't the real reason Kody got so distant from his other kids, why did she butt into that Christmas text chain and suddenly declare it wasn't safe for her children to be involved? I mean, come on. It only adds fuel to the fire, making it even clearer that she's been the driving force behind these divisions all along. So yeah, it's not surprising the public sees her as the main culprit. And Kody isn't helping matters. He's never exactly been a hands-on dad. So the fact that he's trying to take all the heat for the rift doesn't sit well with most people. Then, to top it off, there was that painfully fake fight between Kody and Robyn a few weeks ago. You know the one, where she's suddenly pleading with him to reach out to the kids and patch things up. I don't buy it for a second. It felt so scripted, like they were trying to salvage Robyn's image. What do you think? As well as, in the sneak peek for next week, Sister Wives star Robyn claims that her wedding wasn't about her. Cue the eye roll. I can already picture her saying that the big celebration wasn't her idea at all, that she would have been perfectly happy with something low-key. But let's be real, I have a sneaking suspicion that this narrative is a total fabrication. It feels like she and Kody plotted behind the scenes to have a grand wedding while pretending she was just being modest about it. It's the same old song and dance as when she claimed that buying that mansion in Flagstaff wasn't for her, but for the family. Funny how I don't see anyone else in the family benefiting from that purchase. And let's not forget that Janelle put up money for Robyn's house. But Robyn doesn't seem to grasp why Janelle feels they owe her anything in return. Talk about manipulative. From day one, Robyn's been treated differently, and honestly, I'd have more respect for her if she just owned up to it. This whole "I never wanted it" or "asked for it" narrative is so tired. Of course, the wedding wasn't her idea. It was supposedly for the family. Just like that McMansion was not her idea because she supposedly wanted to rent so badly. And those coronavirus rules were also totally not her doing. And how about that apology from Gabe and Garrison? Nope, not her idea either. This woman has never taken accountability for anything. Or maybe this whole charade is just a setup for her to want a vow renewal since Christine had her wedding televised. Just a thought, but I can't shake the feeling they're angling for a vow renewal. If that's the case, it would only make people like them even less. Who wants to see more of them? It must be eating Kody and Robyn alive that Christine got her own wedding special. Robyn is used to everything revolving around her and what she wants, and it's pretty clear she doesn't like being overshadowed. However, why did Sobin Robyn know the rules 7 months before everyone else? I'm rewatching season 15, and this just hit me. When the infamous list of rules was finally presented to the wives, 3 of them were completely blindsided. But then Robyn casually chimes in, saying, "I've been doing it for 7 months." So that means she was the only one in the loop. I really wish one of the other wives had called her out, saying something like, "Hold up, how come Robyn has had these rules, and we haven't heard a peep about them?" It's pretty clear she knew about them, because they came straight from her. And don't forget about Meri. Somehow, Meri was aware of the rules too, but she was stuck in isolation, hoping for some scraps of attention from Kody and Robyn. She was cut off from the rest of the family because of those rules, and still wasn't even allowed to see Robyn or her kids. It's wild. Kody never expected Christine to spill the beans about them having a whole extra person coming in and out of their lives daily. He set the tone, saying no one could have anyone over if he was going to show up. He claimed he couldn't go to Janelle's because her kids were still working, and he wouldn't visit Christine's since she spent time with Janelle. And Robyn? Oh no, he couldn't go to her place because she had a nanny coming over every day. As for Meri, well, he didn't really provide a reason for that one. It was like there were different rules for different houses, and Kody just didn't think he'd get called out on camera. That's what made Christine's question, "What does the nanny do that makes it okay for her to be in the house?" so iconic. These weren't universal rules that he and Robyn adhered to. They were just the enhanced rules the nanny supposedly followed to bounce from house to house. Christine's real question was about why the whole family couldn't gather and what the rules would be for them to celebrate the holidays together. The truth is, those rules didn't even exist. It all turned into a power play, prioritizing control and respect over family or safety. Plus, Sister Wives star Kody Brown's comments about physical intimacy over the last couple of seasons have really made me think. Does anyone else get the impression that he just can't keep up with 4 wives anymore? Instead of owning it, he seems to shift the blame onto the wives, even though the issue might be with him. It's a well-known fact that men's libido can decrease with age, while many women tend to desire more intimacy as they get older. It's possible that this discrepancy is at play here. People have speculated that Kody's recent mood swings might be linked to testosterone replacement therapy. I'm no expert, so I'm not claiming this is definitely the reason, but it's definitely something I've come across in discussions. Overall, it seems like Kody is grappling with more than just relationship dynamics. He might be facing some real personal challenges as well. Additionally, does Sister Wives star Kody not see that by opting out of accompanying Meri to her meeting with the church officials, he basically handed them the perfect justification for her abandonment claim? I mean, he could have strolled in there and flipped the script, arguing that she had an emotional affair, framing it as their marriage never really recovered. Talk about a classic case of hypocrisy. He'd already ghosted her by that point, but hey, at least he could have put a spin on it that made him look somewhat less negligent. Instead, he's sulking over being accused of abandonment. It's almost comical. Kody skips the meeting, claiming he's above their authority now and doesn't recognize the legitimacy of their decisions anymore. Bravo, right? The self-proclaimed deconstructionist king making his grand stand. But then, here he is, fuming about a decision he claims is meaningless in the grand scheme of things. In the end, he's just livid that someone had the audacity to call him out on his own hypocrisy. It's like watching a toddler throw a tantrum because someone pointed out they've been caught with their hand in the cookie jar. Classic Kody. Furthermore, in this scene, Kody and Meri are tangled up in a conversation that feels less like a heartfelt discussion and more like a game of verbal ping-pong, where Kody keeps smacking the ball back to himself. He's fuming about the church's rules that say a man can't just pick up another wife if he's abandoned his existing ones. It's a classic case of Kody feeling cornered. Look, according to our esteemed church leaders, he declares, I can't go get myself a new wife until I deal with this abandonment nonsense. And of course, he's looking at Meri like she's supposed to help him out of this mess by admitting he didn't abandon her. Yeah, because that's how it works, right? He rants, I don't care what those stupid church leaders say. I mean, seriously, who even believes in their garbage? Meanwhile, you can practically see the steam coming out of his ears as he insists, I don't want anyone saying I abandoned any of my wives. That's just not true. The irony is thick. He's mad about how he's perceived while denying the truth of his situation. I've made sacrifices for those women. He claims as if those sacrifices magically erase all the ways he's dropped the ball. But deep down, it feels like a self-inflicted loop of denial. I never loved those women. He suddenly admits, almost as if trying to convince himself. It's a sad symphony of sarcasm and absurdity, as he argues with no one but his own reflection. And honestly, part of me wouldn't mind seeing Kody try to woo another woman just to watch Robyn's head explode in a fit of jealousy. That would be a show worth tuning into. Moreover, it's hard to shake that feeling of ick. There was a time when I could convince myself that Kody was just playing up his role for the cameras, leaning into that villain arc for dramatic effect. Maybe I could rationalize that his divorces were inevitable, and the show just amplified the already messy situation. But after Garrison's passing and hearing some of his kids openly discuss how their family has crumbled and how their relationship with him is basically non-existent, it's hard to ignore the reality of it all. Honestly, Kody comes off as a truly terrible human being, and each time he opens his mouth, I feel a little more hope for the future slip away. It's frustrating. I just needed to vent to someone who might understand. I used to think the same way you did, that every successful show needs a villain. But now I'm convinced that Kody is genuinely as despicable as he appears. Even if he wins in the end and manages to create a happy life with Robyn and their kids, though I seriously doubt that will happen, he'll have lost the love and respect of his other children. That's a monumental loss, and it makes me question the kind of legacy he's really building. Also, Sister Wives star Kody's narrative is all about wanting to connect with his children, but he paints them as the villains, claiming they're hostile whenever he tries to reach out. He seems to think that until they're ready to embrace his love, he's just not going to keep putting in the effort. But let's take a closer look at this supposed desire for connection. How does he justify his relationship with Savannah? She's non-confrontational, yet he rarely makes the effort to reach out to her. In the latest episode, Janelle mentioned he sees her only a few times every few months, despite the fact that they live in the same town and she's still a minor. And then there's Truly. He might blame Christine for moving her away, but when she was living nearby, how often did he actually see her? It's not like he was a regular fixture in her life. Let's not forget his dedication to Robyn either. He traveled 5 hours every weekend to see her while balancing a whole life and family back in Lee. Clearly, he knows how to make time for the people he really wants to see. What about Isabel, Aspen, and Logan? Even when Mykelti was all about supporting him, she pointed out that he put in little to no effort to maintain a relationship with her and her kids. That burden fell entirely on her. These are questions that should definitely be brought up at the tell-all, followed by some pointed follow-ups. But let's be real, Kody would probably just double down, lumping all the kids together and insisting they're all hostile, unsafe, and triggering. It's infuriating. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.